Let's get real, guys. Luxury content was once the cornerstone of influencer branding. The designer bag haul.
Hey guys, I'm in Maldives and I wanted to show you guys what's in my airport Birkin. And in case you're new here, yes, the airport Birkin. If you know, you know. If you're new, Papa's quiet. This is a Birkin 30 and this is definitely the size that says I got someplace to go and I don't pack light.
All the what's in my designer bag video with bags more than the price of my rent. Can you remember those videos? Or rather, do you still remember those videos? However, influencers are now pulling back.
I'm selling my Hermes bags, and not to be dramatic, but it genuinely feels like I'm breaking up with a boyfriend. A shock to some perhaps, but for those who truly know me, they know that this moment has been a long time coming. I started sharing my life online nearly 15 years ago. In those early days, I worked 4 jobs alongside studying for my degree, saving every penny to buy pre-loved Mulberry bags, small trophies that symbolised my own successes, especially in the moments when that recognition wasn't always found elsewhere. Soon enough, I began sharing my love of luxury handbags and fashion through my videos, and quite literally, my life changed overnight. I would spend hours scouring the internet and vintage boutiques for the best pieces within my budget. I'd wait for sales to secure the latest trends at a fraction of the price, and I'd trawl Bicester Village for last season's must-haves. I documented it all, taking my audience along for the journey. As my business grew, I was able to buy pieces brand new, and before long, Mulberry was replaced by Dior, Dior by Chanel, and eventually I found myself playing the Hermes game. I built my collection through in-store wishes, pre-loved finds, and treasured vintage pieces. And in the process, I learned invaluable lessons about quality, patience, and craftsmanship. So much so that I eventually downsized from a collection of 75 luxury handbags to a carefully curated edit of well-loved, truly special pieces. And just like that relationship we've all had, that one that felt right until suddenly it didn't. I began to feel a shift. I caught myself turning my bag around as I walked down the street, worrying about where I could and couldn't take it, feeling a little bit funny about content being created around these bags online, myself included, and brushing off less than stellar experiences in store, telling myself it was just part of the process. Until one day, I had to stop and ask myself, what am I doing? So here I am, packing up the last of my collection, a collection that for so long was a marker of my successes. And yet I've come to realise I no longer need to measure my achievements in handbags, nor do they hold the power to bring me happiness. And instead, I've gone back to my roots with this pre-loved Bayswater that I picked up for 300 quid that comes with a lot less baggage, pun intended. And with that, my edit with Cellier is now live, and with 20% of the proceeds going to support women through the many challenges that we face today. I hope you enjoy shopping my edit and my collection on there now.
Here's the thing, the pressure to keep up appearances is real. Behind those $10,000 bags, many influencers were drowning in debt, struggling to maintain a lifestyle that was more fake it till you make it.
Controversial opinion, but I think that most influencers are going to end up going broke, and I'm going to explain to you why I know this. I'm saying most, not all. Just keep that in mind. It's pretty comparable to being an athlete, a famous athlete. Just keep that in mind while I'm speaking, because we have real stats from athletes. We don't have as many stats from influencers. I went to an event 7 years ago, and this lives just rent-free in my mind. It was hosted by a popular Instagrammer called The Fat Jewish, and if you don't know who that is, then I think it just kind of further proves the point. And at this event, he explained that what happens to famous people is one of two things. Either your platform is fleeting, so think like eventually in sports, like you retire or you might get an injury, but like think of for influencers like Vine, that what happened to Vine, or TikTok potentially getting banned in the US. The other thing is that you might be fleeting. Hey, you might get canceled. You might not want to do this forever. You might retire. Like you might not want to make YouTube videos for the next 30 years. So one of those two things can happen to you or will happen to you, which brings me into my second point. How many influencers do you know or athletes do you know that have really stayed relevant long term?
Think and understand minimalism and a whole new approach to fashion. I'm living for this era. But here's the twist. If you can't talk fashion knowledge, you are going to look like a total poster. Influencers have learned the hard way. Holding a $5,000 bag is one thing, but knowing the brand's history is another thing. That is where the game changes. And look at what Chinese people have done. But hold hold on, why is it now trending to ditch the bags? Well, the shift is not just about fashion, it's about the algorithm.
All right, y'all, let's talk about luxury purchases that I regret buying. Just stuff that I absolutely did not need whatsoever. Do you remember the off-white industrial logo belt phase? I just really did not need this belt, never wore it, never even took the tags off of it. I couldn't really style it because the color was so specific. And if you don't know how you're gonna style something, you should not be buying it in the first place. The Christian Louboutin Soulful Kate booties. Beautiful shoe, but it looks 10 times better when I'm not wearing it. I don't know why the hell I love these shoes so much. I bought them in gold too. Some things are just pretty to look at, but they're not actually functional and wearable. This huge Balenciaga jacket, but y'all, was so heavy that I was so uncomfortable wearing it. I wore the jacket to Park City, Utah one time and then I never wore it again. Unfortunately, because this was an online purchase, I didn't know it was gonna be that heavy and uncomfortable, but it taught me shop for comfort, not just for looks. This last purchase is a tote from Saint Laurent. It honestly just got lost in the sea of other bags that I had. If I don't wear something for 2 consecutive seasons, I get rid of it and I sell it.
Are no longer rewarding flashy unboxing videos, they are rewarding honesty. I regret buying this content is getting all the love right now. Have you noticed that? But why? Influencers are pivoting. The new trend, being real, is the new trend.
So I'm on my way to a barbecue. It's meant to start at 2 o'clock. It's 5 p.m. I've been told to come at 6:30 because nobody's there. Classic barbecue energy. But I thought I would discuss some of the, I don't know if it's commotion. I don't know if there's discourse about this, but I saw my friend Lydia. Shout out to Lydia. She's that girl, and she's selling actually a lot of her Hermes bag collection. And I, for one, feel like I definitely have been a perpetrator of purchasing bags and purchasing things and showing and doing lifestyle. Listen, I'm sitting in a very expensive car right now, and I have been part of that. And I think there's a changing in the air, in that there was definitely, as an influencer, the competition to show your value in the things that you have. And I think that is a never ending cycle of how much more can you have? How much more can you buy? What can you get next? Blah, blah, blah. I, for one, realized that I've been a perpetrator of that, as well as a victim of it, was feeling that if people don't see what you have, they don't believe that you're doing well. However, I also seen the backlash of people being aware of how well you're doing, even if it's a pretense, and that causing a lot of commotion. So fundamentally, the designer bags were a representation of doing well, not just flexing, but also showing people, well, I've progressed, well, I've upgraded, well, I've got something. And once you start to get internal validation, inevitably those items do not carry the same weight. So I think for her, it's a case of progressing and getting into other interests. I think on the wider scale, I've seen a few other influencers that I know mention wanting to sell their bags and not being as excited by having Hermes anymore. And I'm going to keep it very real. I think it's because it's become mainstream and more known and more attainable, and there are some amazing dupes on the market. So what felt like was very exclusive doesn't feel that exclusive anymore, and there are people who want to feel so exclusive so they don't want the thing that everybody else has. I'm just saying. Now, I for one love my bags, and I do genuinely feel like they are a representation of I've made it, but also I really just like them. Do I see them as an investment? Absolutely not. The way I throw my bags around and lose them, I don't think I'll get 10p back on them. However, I do believe in investing, and I think there are other ways to invest. And I think it was a bit of a story when people are like, yeah, if you get this bag, it's an investment. Do you even have stocks and shares? Do you even have a pension before you're thinking of Hermes bag as an investment? Please. There are different ways to invest before you think about bags. And I would also say, coming from the ethnic minority perspective, often the only way that we can visibly show our growth and our success, and that is actually interesting, is the fact that we have nice shoes, have nice bag, drive a nice car. Like, this is our way of showing that we've made it. And as someone who's talked about personal finance, I've talked about investment, I had to take a step back from having those discussions because I realized that it just didn't quite connect in the same way as me just showing the stuff that I have. However, I really want to go back to that and let people know it's great to have great things and nice things and beautiful things. But there are other things as well that give you value in internally as well as externally as well. So yeah, times are changing. The girls are selling their Hermes bags. There is a recession in the air.
But here's the kicker. Is this the end of luxury, or is it the birth of fashion authenticity? In 2025, maybe being true to yourself is the most stylish thing you can do. So are we seeing the death of designer bags or designer goods? I won't say it is the end, because people would still love luxury and designer items. However, a lot has changed, or a lot will change. What has changed is why we wear it, right? Which the new symbol is authenticity. The new flex, not needing a $10,000 bag to prove your worth, and influencers are catching that. The real question is, can we expect more influencers and brands to start moving to this direction? Only time will tell, but it appears that authenticity is the new gold standard. So what do you think, guys? Are you tired of the designer flex as well? Do you think influencers are finally getting real with us? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I've got more videos like this. Check out this one I made on how Chinese manufacturers are calling out all of these brands. Till next time, keep it real, and remember, true happiness does not come from any brand or label. I'll see you on my next video, guys. My name is Yvonne. Follow me on all social media platforms. Subscribe. Bye, guys.